God, it's a go. We've actually got the video going. And yes, it's on a stand. And it's only taken us 3 to 4 months to even get to this stage. Totally unscripted, totally unprofessional. We don't know what we're doing, but we thought we'd start it like this just to introduce ourselves. So it's Daniela Dragas and
Michelle Geske.
So we're dealing with finance on this side, or real estate.
Real estate on this side and business. So we actually have wanted to do a podcast for several months, both of us with the same exact vision of living life on your own terms.
Living on our terms, your terms, your
Yes.
terms. And what it's like to run a business or try to get a business started.
And all things you need to know about living in beautiful, sunny Florida, mainly Tampa, Florida.
Mainly the humidity.
Yes.
And how your hair does not always look like this.
So for those of you who are on YouTube who can actually see us, we're both
Not native Floridians.
Yes, obviously from our accents you can tell. I am originally from Cape Cod, Massachusetts. I am a combat veteran. I spent most of my adult life, or a good part of it, good part of my adult life in the United States Army as an Army officer. I've been self-employed since leaving the military and in Florida since 2005. And I'm currently in the real estate space, but also do some coaching and consulting. And I'm the director of operations for Miss Florida USA and Miss Florida Teen USA. So
And
a lot of things we want to share, but I met Daniela through an entrepreneurship group and we hit it off, and she is the smartest financier I've ever met in my life, and the most beautiful, and has the coolest accent. No, I know many in real estate.
Thank you.
So I had discussed wanting to do a podcast, and you too. And you know, a lot of people say, oh, I want to do this, and then they never do. And we're doing it.
Yeah, so we decided to put it together, literally with a tripod, unscripted, and the whole podcast really is about getting to understand, you know, modern day life, you know, living life on your own terms, being an entrepreneur, being able to enjoy travel, but obviously we all have to make money unless you're one of those gifted people that have a inheritance. And we're really here to help them, not only just on real estate, but it could be anything. It could be about kids, schools, moving, hairstyles, clothing, which we both love. So it's going to be a mix. Yeah, definitely relationships. Of course, that comes into everything: business relationships, personal relationships, and how running a business impacts all of that. And you know, having a really good time. And I hope that we instill a lot of information to you in a very funny way. And yes, I'm definitely British, so there's the accent. Hope you can understand me. And we're welcoming you along our journey. And I hope that we see you every week when we film.
Absolutely. So today I really wanted to dive in and learn a little bit more about you, or let our audience know a little bit more about you. I love hearing people's stories. So have you always been in the financial space?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Yes. So, left university and I went right into an internship with Bear Stearns, and blessed always was with them until the banking crash. And it's always been a real estate driven. So I was a portfolio manager with them at a vice president's level. Not that the title meant much, it just meant I had a lot more work to do and responsibility. And the Lending Corporation, which is my company, started out of that crash like a phoenix. I decided, really, because I was getting business coming in and I knew where the funding sources were to sort of osmosis into the business. I didn't dream of owning a company. I was actually looking to maybe go to Goldman Sachs, who were offering me positions, and it just started from there. And I just kept on pedaling and swimming and pedaling, and clients were coming in and funding, and really enjoying what I do, even though it's long hours and stressful, and meeting really great people in my life who are still my clients and my friends. And I'm meeting friends and clients, and they all kind of merge together.
Absolutely. That's one of the things I absolutely love about the real estate space. I feel like I'm very intentional. I don't know about you, about at this point in my career, who I work with,
You have to be,
I
sadly.
have a team of people as well, a small team of people, and I'm very intentional about the type of people that I work with, and they always become friends or colleagues for the, for forever. And that's what makes it so enjoyable. I love that. And now we're starting to have mutual friends and mutual business relationships. And of course, that's the best of everything.
It's fun. Just on a recent client that I'm not divulging. It's just fun to be able to work with people that you want to spend your 18 hours a day with if you had to. And it is stressful when you're doing finance, and it's in real estate, and it's stressful when you have deadlines and purchases. But behind the scenes of what realtors do isn't just signing that contract.
Oh goodness!
I mean, that's just the fun icing on the cake. And then the lending side, I'd love to take you all behind the scenes, kind of educate you on how to be a much better borrower, much better entrepreneur, and set yourself up financially well going into your future using real estate as a tool.
That's something I'm really passionate about. So did you grow up with parents who taught you about finance and real estate, or no? You taught yourself in school.
In the finance side, and you pick up things through osmosis, like the way they handle their finances. But they didn't sit there and teach me. But I will say my grandparents, particularly my grandfather on my mother's side, he came in from Yugoslavia. I'm Eastern European, and started from nothing. Second World War, a lot of, you can tell a lot of our grandparents are like that. And he started to get rental properties. And I kind of remembering going through with him and seeing how we had all these renters. But I will say one of my dearest friends, who I call my second mum, so I'm going to give a shout out to June Necky in Bournemouth, England, who has written a book. Two in fact. One is called Kissing Donna Better, about her relationship with her daughter who passed away from a brain tumor. Mother's love of how that brought them together. And her second book is called A Little Stranger at the Door. She's written a book about herself being basically a refugee from London when they're being bombed. Went out to Wales, and how she, at a very young age, I think she was under 10, sorry Jude, I think that's correct, would go to strangers' doors and be taken in to get away from the bombings. So, geez, I digressed right there.
Well, that's wonderful.
She's been planning these books for a while, and she's one of the most influential women in my life. I call her my second mum, but it was June and I who had funny stories when I was 17. Literally picking up a taxi cab in the UK and putting lampshades and all kinds of rugs and stuff into this taxi and going up to one of our rental properties. And we were doing fix and flips. We didn't even know what they were back then. We were just making money and having a hell of a time and learning how to paint, and I mean, just stories. And so June Necky, thank you for that. She helped set me on that road. So
we'll have her on. Story. Now mine's quite opposite. I grew up on Cape Cod, Massachusetts.
Beautiful.
So, my Boston accent was 10 times worse 35 years ago, but now it's a little bit adjusted so you can understand what I'm saying.
It's beautiful.
But I grew up with, my grandparents owned a business, my uncles owned businesses, and, more blue collar businesses. And nobody taught me about finance or real estate. I just thought people owned their home. And even my time in the military, I bought the house that I lived in, but I never invested in real estate until now. So now I am building my rental portfolio. So I think it's really interesting, and I think it's one of the things I really would like to get across to our audience is, regardless of your background, you can surround yourself with the right people and the right tools to build your wealth through real estate. Absolutely. And one of the things I have found with my clients is, regardless of somebody's business status, we work with a lot of entertainers and athletes, and in that space, just because of somebody's status in one arena, you can't assume what they know about finance, real estate, or business. Because I have found that people don't really know. regardless of what their status is. Do you find that?
Yeah, I do. You never know what goes on behind closed doors, right? There's always a great saying that comes from my parents. Through the many clients, which can be, the movie stars, the elite, the business entrepreneurs, you've got the other side, the first-time home buyers or the foreign nationals that come into a country and they don't think they can. And what's really, for me, gratifying and heartwarming is when I put a client into a home and they thought they could never get, and I've got goosebumps. It's totally satisfying because you see them blossom as people, that American dream, they feel that sense of self-worth through real estate, and what it unlocks for them with being able to find a stabilization for their family, and it stabilizes a town and a city and a country. Real estate is such a powerful tool. It's one of the most biggest purchases you're going to make in your life. There's a lot of information, it can be overwhelming, and there's good actors and there's bad actors in this space, like with any business. Yes.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of re-educating and then there's a lot of educating, but I mean, that's what we hope to bring to you through our honesty, our fun, coming along our journey and sharing our wisdom and see where that takes you in your journey.
I love what you just said about everybody's not equal in this space. I know that I'm very good at what I do in real estate because I've been self-employed for so long, almost 30 years, because really it's a business. I'm in business and I happen to be selling real estate. Yet when I'm sitting with my clients, I know that my skills for the past 30 years in business make me better at what I do, because when I'm listening to somebody's situation, when you have a strong business background, it's not always what they want. Sometimes it doesn't make sense to sell for tax reasons. Sometimes it doesn't make sense to buy. So I love that I can dig deep with my clients and bring that experience in. And I know a lot of real estate professionals don't have those same skills. I like to learn about people, dig deep, find out, because on the surface, it's never what they say at the beginning.
Never. It's this job is part counselor, definitely behavioral specialist, therapist, FBI agent, really works well also. And then a mother, and a coach and everything in between. And it's a team effort. I say this it's one of my biggest taglines, and what I live by is a complete team effort. If I don't have the referrals and the support of my real estate agents, they're their first point of contact most of the time, and they have to be very much on point of what they're telling their clients. And I have examples that I'll share with you in the next couple of series of things I've heard from real estate agents that absolutely were completely wrong.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't claim to know everything with my clients. If they ask me deep financial questions, I'm going to pick up the phone and call you and have you answer them, because that's not my expertise. And I sit there and listen to you talk, and you have such high level experience and international experience, I must say. This woman is impressive. She's doing commercial deals, residential deals, not just in Florida, but nationally and internationally. And your wisdom is truly spectacular, and I love listening to you. And with that said, I would rather have my people call you direct and get the answers from you, so that I don't, there's so many different intricacies. I might be able to answer it on the basic level, yet you're going to be able to dig a lot deeper and find 29 solutions for one question.
Yeah, there's never a one fit for all clients. There's general guidelines and grade rates and what they are, but it really is, when you definitely come to myself, you're going to a banking attorney, and that's how I've always positioned what we do for our clients. We are like a banking attorney, and the underwriter for the lender is the judge, and we have to get you from A to B in the most quickest, easiest, no hair pulling way that we can. And it's an experience. You'll love me, you'll hate me, you'll really hate me, and then you'll love me at the end. And there's the house.
Yes, I love that. we have very similar ways to,
Make
let's
it
say,
fun.
communicate difficult information. I always ask my clients, do you want me to sugarcoat it or do you want me to put it all on the table? And they always say, I want you to be upfront with me. And, there's a lot of difficult information that you have to bring up when you're going through this process with clients. And you're very direct and blunt. And sometimes you have to educate people because they've been told so many different things by other lenders. In my case, they'll always say to me, well, this realtor told me I could get, $900,000 for my house, and you're telling me $700,000. How do you deal with that? Are you
Data.
direct? Data and being upfront.
Data. Yeah, well, I mean, look, we're in it to make money. It's a business, but you can't mislead a client.
No.
And data, and that's why numbers are amazing. It's the truest form of all sciences. 1 and 1 makes 2. It does not make 2 and a half. Although I wasn't great at math, I will tell you that. Oh my goodness, I use my fingers a lot. Joking.
That is so true because I'll sit in front of a client and we'll go over all the comps and all the numbers and they'll say, well, what do you think that I can get for my house? And I don't have an opinion. My number is based on the data and the facts that are laid out right here. And there's no try to sell a
That's
house.
a hard. It's like saying to a new mother, your baby isn't lovely. It's not going to be Miss World. And it's because from data, you can overbuild in areas, and I've got examples of beautiful homes in Florida that the client wanted to live there, and he put in marble kitchens. And look, you can do what you want to the home, and if the buyer walks in and loves it and wants to pay the price, brilliant. But sometimes those comparisons are what we call comps in the industry, just don't justify what one house internally may have compared to what the market is. So it's not an easy position for a real estate agent to give the speech of, well, we don't think we're going to get this much. And some realtors say things that they shouldn't because they want to get the business, and that's just part of life. So I'm hoping you'll understand from both of us. We say as it is, we do the best for our clients, and we definitely use data points, truth and fact to deliver the business message.
Absolutely, and I just had an agent come back from a listing appointment yesterday, and she said, I didn't take the listing, he wanted to price way over, and I supported her. He'll call you back.
Good.
We're in the business to help people sell their home, not have it sit on the market like month after month
And
after
that's
month
exceptionally
unsold.
detrimental.
Yes, so, you want to help people, you educate people based on the data, and then it's up to them to decide. And guess what? 100% of the time, they always come back and, say, okay, I want you to sell my home.
Yeah. The last thing you want to do is put a home on and have it sit there for months, because that data, everyone can see it, and that basically puts perspective. Yes, we can't get my words out.
Perspective, yes.
Prospective buyer. Why is this house? What's wrong with it? And then they start to look at all the other reasons. Well, there really couldn't be. It was just overpriced to start with. So, and I agree with just being right on point and not trying to shoot for the stars.
Anybody can tell you what you can get to for your house and get a listing signed. I don't know about you, but I'm in the business of helping people meet their goals for the reason why they're moving. So it doesn't do them any good to sit on the market.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed.
Okay, so I have a question for you. If you could name one thing that you wish newer lenders would not do, what would that be?
Newer lenders.
Yes.
I mean, newer loan bankers.
Loan bankers who work with clients, and you hear things that that drive you crazy, that you wish they would never tell their client.
Oh my goodness, that's a good one.
You probably have a long list.
It's trying to start from where I can say. But I think for the newer bankers out there, just don't give an estimate. Don't give a guarantee. You can do what's called guidelines, what they might qualify for, but the word guarantee that's a good word, is not to be used. Until we get a full file in, that means all the documentation, all the income documentation, if you're doing a 30-year fix using tax returns or all the other multiple programs that we'll talk about at some point, don't guarantee, just give them your best foot forward with the knowledge that you've received, because I'd rather not guarantee and then disappoint until we have a full underwrite. That word should not exist. It's like saying, this stock's going to do X and guaranteeing that it's going to do Y. No, guarantee doesn't work.
I love that.
Thank you for the difficult question.
It's so helpful for consumers, especially with everything online. So people will hop online, do a mortgage, and then they'll come to the realtor and say they have a pre-approval or whatever.
It's called a pre-qual.
Right.
Those things should be banned and illegal. Pre-quals, I just say you can basically wipe your feet on them. They don't mean anything unless then you've pulled someone's credit and you've gone through a preliminary look of the documentation. That's a pre-approval, and that's what we all do all the time. A pre-qual, please don't be misled. They don't mean anything at all in that world.
And that's great for other realtors, because I'm always educating people as well. When you get that letter, the first thing you should be doing as a realtor, especially if you're selling a home and you're getting all of these offers and they include that letter, you need to be on the phone with the lender to see if this person is actually pre-qualified or pre-approved.
Correct.
And any deal can fall apart because they didn't tell that lender all of the information in the backstory.
Yeah, you
of
have
their
to be honest.
situation.
You really have to treat, back to the word, banking attorney. Your banker is not going to judge you. They're not the underwriter.
Absolutely.
The more I know, the more time I don't have to dig. It's a team. And when I say team effort, you can tell me, us, anything, which you do in the end, because we'll find out. And it will just get through the potholes. I'm lucky to say we've never lost a loan that hasn't closed unless a buyer has walked away from a property. And I'm saying that with all honesty, because the amount of upfront due diligence we do, you know, the team effort that we have with our clients and our real estate agents, we make sure that we definitely communicate very much so with buyers, agents mainly, because that's their client, and the seller side. And really, as a lender, we're juggling about 15 people at one time, making sure the seller has all the right information, the seller's agents, and keeping that listing alive and reassuring the seller, and same on the buy side. So it really is a team. It's no different to going into the NFL, NBA, or if you're a Yankees fan, going into the World Series, which I love.
There's so many things that are popping in my head because I have had deals earlier in my career fall apart because maybe somebody failed to mention they had a foreclosure like 1 year ago, or they forgot to tell us that they had a home equity loan also on their home, so they didn't have enough equity and things like that you later find out from the title company or the lending side.
We see that a lot. People seem to forget this second of this home equity line, or during COVID, there were these, they would forgive the payments,
Right.
and then all of a sudden there they are. I mean, that happened to me recently.
Deferments
That's
on
the
your
word.
mortgage.
Correct.
Or your car payment that I'm getting emails now deferring for the storms. People don't realize deferment doesn't mean you skip a month and it goes to the end. It means you don't pay now and in 6 months you pay all 6 payments.
Correct. And it does hurt because the loan amount, the loan balance of the car payment is higher. And that has happened to me just recently with a client in Sarasota where we're like, okay, what is this?
I always tell my clients, it's a no judgment zone. Tell them everything, because people also think that if it's not on your credit report that you're not going to find it, but you have different ways of seeing the entire situation, not just on their personal credit report.
Absolutely. It's not just a credit report. Depends what kind of loan you're doing, but if it's sort of the general 30-year fixed, like a fixed loan, we're going to pull a report at the end called a Mars report. Also, we do a soft pull as the loan's being approved and you get that clear to close and everyone's really happy, we do a soft pull on your credit to make sure nothing has changed before loan docs go out. So that means please don't buy furniture and a boat and a car.
I have to tell people that all the time. They get excited, and then I've seen people the day before go out and buy all the furniture for their house, and then it doesn't close because they used their cards.
I've seen this. Luckily, I have a client that did actually ask me, which was very nice of him, to say, can I do this? And I said, if you do, you'll be living in your dresser.
I always tell people, don't buy a thing. Ask your lender before you buy anything. They'll tell you, yes, you know.
He emailed me and I'm like, my God, it's the first time he did this.
Tell him to stop spending.
Yeah. Give me your credit cards.
Yes, and on the flip side, there's what I am finding, especially with millennials, they have so much more money than we had when we were young. There are buyers that I have in the 20s and 30s that have so much money in the bank.
Smart.
They're extremely smart lending, yet here in Tampa Bay, they're paying thousands of dollars a month in rent. And somehow people don't think they can buy a house. If you have a job and money and a credit score, you can buy a home.
That goes my plumber. It seems to totally live. Keep going. Okay, so that's funny. Yes, I don't know if it's a millennial thing, because I've experienced it through osmosis. I don't know if it's because they want to be more mobile. They don't really want to have the cars that we aspire to and the homes.
Right.
There's Uber and all these other things, Airbnbs, and people want to live and experience life and not leave university or leave home and then go and stay. They're a lot more migrational thinking, and I think that's what's happening. But then it comes a point where in life, as you get older, you know, think about all the years that you've missed if you didn't buy a house when you're 17 or 20 or 25 or 27. So if I was a millennial, and I've talked to myself right now, I would buy a house. Even if I didn't live in it, I would rent it out, and then you have passive income, and then there you go, you'll be on that drug and you won't want to have just one home then.
Right. I found that people will say things like, oh, I just don't want the hassle. And I'm like, okay, you can buy it and rent it out and have a management company manage it.
Absolutely.
Yet you're buying a home and paying, or you're renting a home and paying somebody else's mortgage. So if I could tell my 18-year-old self, I would say buy small income properties. I've done some coaching with some active duty soldiers that are transitioning out, and I know some that have 11 properties already leaving the military.
That's impressive.
Because in the military, you get paid a housing allowance, you buy a home, it's paid, and then it's always rentable because you're near a military base. So you move on,
Smart.
do a permanent change of station, a PCS, and rent out your last house, and that's the smart way to do it. That is not how I did it. I didn't know about that.
Are amazing.
I didn't know about that.
Do you know about VA loans?
I knew about VA loans, of course, but I used them to buy the home that I lived in. And then when I moved, I sold the home. I didn't have a real estate investment
like
mindset.
homes and then pull out the equity.
Right.
Yeah.
I was 32 before I bought my first home in the military. I rented. I was single.
That's an example.
Exactly. I didn't know.
That's real.
But I was overseas a lot too, so. But anyway, there you have it. Get young people who are renting to not spend their money on rent and to invest in real estate. So I think that's a big part of what we want to get across in this podcast is regardless of where you are now, you can build the life of your dream and the wealth of your dreams through real estate.
It's one of the wealth tools. I mean, there's many others, as stocks and bonds and crypto, but look at the history of houses. Unless you want to live in the jungle, we're always going to need homes. And in particular in Florida, with the amount of people moving here and the lack of inventory, and now the builders have caught up to this, you know, it's supply and demand. And so whereas a demand and there's like a supply, house prices go up, and you need to kind of capture that. Also, not that I'm a financial advisor, but you have a tax incentive to have a home as well. You can put that on your taxes, and you can do that as a nice little tax write off. Your CPA will tell you all about that. So another thing that having a home is really worth it. Get a management company in there, or manage it yourself, and the training wheels come off, and then all of a sudden you're flying.
Absolutely. And I think that I actually love teaching people about the possibilities, because people don't know how. Say you and I wanted to go buy a house to flip. We would know how to do it instantly, because this is the industry we're in. The key is buying something at a really good deal and making sure you're building equity. Yet I talk to so many people who that is like this far out dream, and I'm looking at their situation like, you could easily do this. So I'm looking forward with you about teaching people how to do that.
Or teaching and hand holding you.
Yes.
It's no different to having kids, and you see them grow. And I talked about it before. You see them grow, and the training wheels come off, and now they're running and they're blossoming, and they get that self-confidence, and and then they're chasing you up because they want to get another one. And that's what's brilliant. So yeah, it's going to be educational.
Yes.
And we're getting taught things all the time. All the experiences that we've had with all our clients. That wealth of knowledge has now gone into these, computer banks, and we want to share this with you and hope that our trials, tribulations, and all of our successes will bring you luck and love and happiness in your way into real estate.
Yes. Well, we're at about 31 minutes, so
I'd
like to, well, all the podcasts I watch are about 1.5, 2 hours, and I'm like, I have to listen in the car and keep playing it. So I think our intention is to keep them at like 30 minutes so people have time. But I wanted to just end by talking about we are members of the Keller Williams Sports and Entertainment Division, which I have become so passionate about that, because we work with athletes and entertainers at all different levels, and it's a very small elite group of realtors that are a member of that organization. You have to apply to be a part of it, and then if you're a lender or a supporter of real estate in any way, we're allowed to invite a certain amount. And in my business career, I've worked with a lot of entertainment and athletes in different aspects, not just in real estate. But what I have found that I'm very passionate about is a lot of these people come into money quickly, and they don't know how to make investments or real estate investments, especially here we are in Tampa Bay. I've been at the Cheesecake Factory and met, a rookie Bucks player who's getting ready to rent a house and who's very interested but scared.
Right.
So I love and I also have worked with a very good friend of mine who is high up coach in the NBA, and has shared a lot of stories about how people come into massive wealth and then they lose it all. I think we can all think of dozens of examples of that in Hollywood and in sports. Yet people with no money may think, how could somebody with all that money end up bankrupt?
First of all, common sense, managers.
Yes.
I mean, it all comes down to, look, okay, so you something happens to you that's great in life, and you want to celebrate, and you want to buy whatever it is, the car or the bag or whatever is floating your boat. I'm not saying you should deny yourself, but then there comes a point where it's really coaching and getting yourself around good people that are going to help you hold that wealth. And there's many celebrities that we all know about, that we've seen their stories, that they hit the press, they hit TMZ, and we all go, oh my God. But yeah, with that level of lifestyle comes the cost. Would you really need the lifestyle? Does it really make you happy? And you can get into hedonistic. Look, when you're younger, you do crazy things, we all have. But getting yourself around a good team of people and you trust them, and little by little, step by step, if you feel comfortable, you'll grow that relationship.
Yes, absolutely. And surrounding yourself with the right people. One thing I've learned is money only defines the person you already are.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes it bigger. So if you're a person who is a spender and waste money, it doesn't matter if you have a little or a lot, you're always going to spend it all. If you're a person who's smart with money, you'll win the lottery tomorrow and you'll make good use of that money.
Yeah. Not all debt is bad debt.
Oh,
Back to
absolutely
mortgages.
not.
Um,
And so
Education, good
a
people around you.
lot of athletes come from nothing. And I love helping them make their first purchase, the smart purchase. And then, of course, like you said, surrounding yourself with smart people. I'm working with some luxury buyers now, and one of them has more money. You know, he never has to work again, and he's like in his 30s. He has generational wealth, yet he never makes a big purchase without talking to his financial person.
It's good to have that checks and balance, right?
Absolutely. His CFO is coming to look at the house with him next. So even though he has the money to buy it, he has a lot of other things going on, and about, 7 different businesses. So having that person to say, hey, I want this, can I buy this? And in the industry we're in with athletes and entertainers, we oftentimes go through their financial advisor.
And that's really good to have.
Yes.
I wish I had that when I was younger. I wish that's what I do now, but back then I wish I could have reached out and thought I could. And it's an honor when someone asks you, can you help and what do you think? So if you have a question, reach out to your realtor and your CPA and your banker and ask those questions, because you'll be surprised how much people really want to help people. And sometimes we're scared to approach you because we don't want to feel like we're telling you what to do. But if you do the opposite way, we'll open up our library of wealth and give you our opinion. And then ultimately the decision is always yours.
Yes, and that's a wrap. Our first conversation. Let's call it a conversation. That was so fun.
That was fun.
If you can't see us on YouTube, this beauty here, 2 beautiful people wanting to help you.
Aww.
So reach out to us anytime for your lending and real estate needs. And we're not always just going to talk about real estate.
No,
let's talk about some juicy things like relationships
for sure, fashion, clothing, travel, diets, menopause, if you want to go that direction, Walter. the whole thing.
Men will love that one. No,
there's a menopause. I'm just talking about
menopause.
It today.
Yes, menopause. That's a good one. You must go.
Oh my God. Well, this has been really fun for us to share our 30 minutes. Next time I'm going to have a coffee for sure. And
she gave me coffee.
Yeah, she had mushroom coffee. And you do it anyway, so that was cool to know. So please join us, please subscribe, and we hope to see you very shortly.
And if you want to be on our podcast, reach out.
It's cool.